I'm going to be sharing simple strategies that you can use to rank your physical therapy practice #1 on Google Maps using Google My Business. First things first, Google My Business is now called Google Business Profile. The only reason I call it Google My Business within this video is because Google My Business is what most practices know it as. That's what they're searching. And since keywords in your headline are so important on YouTube, we're going to be calling it Google My Business throughout the duration of this video, but it is now Google Business Profile. So here's your first lesson in SEO. In order to rank well on Google, you have to first understand how Google Maps works. The Google My Business strategies I'm going to be sharing with you today have been researched, tried, and tested by the top local search experts in the world who report their findings in the Search Factor Annual Report. We've leveraged this report and implemented these strategies to generate over $500,000 inside of our own practices just in the last year alone. So these things actually work. And so today I'm going to break down all of the key steps that you need to do to get your physical therapy practice ranked #1. Using this information as well as a few helpful tools, I'm going to show you all the strategies that you should be doing to get your physical therapy practice ranked #1 on Google Maps. So if you guys are ready, let's dive in. So tip #1 is that if you're going to war on Google Maps, you need to make sure that you are properly equipped. So to speed up the entire process, I recommend installing a free Chrome extension called GMB Everywhere. This is going to give you all of the different information that you need on your top competitors to make sure that you have the right information on your listing to make sure that you're able to quickly start to climb the rankings. Now, below this video, I did link it. Go download it. It's going to give you a ton of information. I'm going to go over that in just a second. So once you have downloaded this extension, GMB Everywhere is basically going to overlay on top of your search results whenever you're in Google My Business and show you what your top competitors are ranking for, what keywords they're using, and give you detailed information about the strategies that they're using on their Google My Business. That's going to be extremely helpful in making sure that you take over for your local area. Next, we're going to go to the Search Factor Annual Report to figure out what actually matters. As you can see, there are 20 factors that actually matter when it comes to ranking well on Google Maps. Since this video is all about getting your physical therapy practice ranked #1 as quickly as humanly possible, we're going to focus on the key categories that make the biggest impact with the least amount of effort, starting with your primary business category. Your primary business category is the most important factor that Google considers when recommending your listing to its users and deciding how to rank your physical therapy practice. Now this may seem super straightforward, but there's actually quite a few different categories that a physical therapist might want to rank for, like physical therapist, physical therapy clinic. There's also sports medicine. So there's a lot of different factors that you could choose. So how exactly do you choose? The first thing that you should do is take a quick peek at what categories are getting the most search volume. And so I like to use tools like SEMrush or Google Ads keyword research tool. There's a lot of different tools out there that are actually free or at least have free trials that you can start playing around with. So I'm going to go over to SEMrush. And so I'm going to start typing in physical therapist and see how much search volume that this is getting and how competitive of a keyword that actually is, because we want to find something that has the most search traffic but also isn't too competitive. So we can see that physical therapist is searched over 40,000 times, has a 0.18 competitive score, and so we want to take a look at some other options. So physical therapist might be too general, so let's do physical therapist near me. Okay, so physical therapist near me is getting 27,000 searches a month, and it has a 0.24 competitiveness score. So this is a good indication. Maybe physical therapist should be our primary business category. But let's do one step. So physical therapy clinic near me, because that is the other search term that we could start to rank for. Let's take a look. Okay, 3,600, but a lower competitiveness score. Let's take out the word clinic and just do physical therapy near me. Because physical therapy near me would, if you decided to rank for physical therapy clinic, physical therapy near me would still be under that category because it takes up the majority of that keyword, and so you still have a chance of showing up for it. So we can see that physical therapy near me has significantly more searches each month and has a very reasonable competitiveness score. So this is a good indication that we're going to want to go with physical therapy clinic as our primary keyword within our Google business category. So what we want to do now is take this information, let's go take a look at what our competitors are actually doing using the GMB Everywhere tool. So we're going to type in Milwaukee Physical Therapy and take a look at what businesses show up. So we can see that our GMB Everywhere tool is giving us a couple different tools to take a look at with each of these businesses. So let's start with Freedom Physical Therapy. Okay, so we can see here that physical therapy clinic is their primary business category. We can also see a couple of their secondary business categories that are on here. We can start getting ideas what we want as our secondary categories, just because those are the fifth most important thing that Google says contributes to deciding how your business will rank. So your secondary categories are also very important. So we're taking a look at which have the star, the primary business category. And it looks like those who are already ranking very well are the physical therapy clinic business category. This is a really strong indication that this is exactly what we want to rank for. So as you're going through this and you're finding all the primary business categories, all physical therapy clinic, this is a really strong indication that this is what you should set your category to. But also pay attention to what they're putting as their secondary categories. If you see things that are repeating, things that are clearly ranking well, because these are the top ranked businesses, you want to write down the ones that you see consistent across all the different listings, because those are clearly the top categories. So we see physical therapist as a secondary, sports medicine clinic. That seems to be popping up more than once. Oh. Okay. Freedom physical therapist. Take out freedom. Occupational therapist, physical therapist. Okay. So we know that we want physical therapy clinic as a primary, physical therapist as a secondary. And if you do any sports performance, that might be, looks like that is something that is popping up fairly consistently that we also want to provide. Sports medicine clinic. So what I would recommend is do those three. Okay, start off with physical therapy clinic as a primary category, and your secondaries are physical therapist as well as sports medicine clinic if that is the niche that you enjoy working with. So do a little bit of research, use the GMB Everywhere tool to find your secondary categories, and that is how you should choose which ones you should be going after. And so we want to make sure that we're not just guessing at these business categories. We want to do a little bit of research to make sure that there's data that validates the ones that we're choosing make perfect sense for our business. So make sure that you leverage the GMB Everywhere tool, do a little bit of digging in your keyword research to figure out which keywords and which category makes sense for your area, and make sure that you're doing your due diligence to find what those secondary categories ought to be, because they are the fifth most important thing in the eyes of Google for ranking your practice. Now, the second most important ranking factor is your business's name. Having the keywords that you actually want to rank for inside of your business's name will significantly increase the odds of you ranking first on Google Maps. You can use this to your advantage by adding keywords to your Google business name, but definitely use caution, because Google clearly states that including unnecessary information in your business name is not permitted. If they catch you adding in too many different keywords, you will get flagged and penalized for doing so. So use it sparingly. Your name on Google My Business should actually reflect your real practice's name, but if you are careful, you can add in a few strategic keywords that will give you a significant advantage in the marketplace while ranking on Google Maps. For example, take a look at this practice right here, Athletico. Okay, Athletico clearly doesn't have the name Scottsdale North on their actual business name, but because it is a necessary piece of information so that users can actually tell what part of the city that they're in, they're able to get away with this. And so I recommend using this to, if your business name does not have keywords that you're trying to rank for, make sure at the very end you just put in what part of the town that you're in or what city that this location is in to help your users find the most convenient location for them. Now, with that being said, let's dive into your next topic, which is social proof and Google reviews. So what's the very first thing that your prospects are going to do when they find your listing before they actually call your physical therapy clinic? Look at your Google reviews, of course. Google reviews play a massive role in how well your website is going to rank in the eyes of Google. And as you can see on the annual report, it actually takes up 3 different categories in how important they are to ranking your business. Number 6, high numerical Google ratings. Number 9, keywords and native Google reviews. And number 12, quantity of native Google reviews. And so this is an extremely important factor. And so collecting Google reviews needs to be a core piece of your Google My Business and Google Maps strategy. First, let's talk about your overall score. Google ranks your business based on how much they actually trust you. Make sure that their users that they're sending your way are going to get an excellent experience with you. And so the actual overall rating that you have is extremely important for obvious reasons. But we are human and we see hundreds of patients. And so getting a bad review is an inevitability. At some point, you're going to get one. But when you do, make sure that you reach out to that patient and make sure that you're able to remedy the situation to make sure that you can turn that poor review into a glowing review. The second most important factor when it comes to your Google reviews is having relevant keywords that are actually inside of those reviews, and that helps you rank for those specific keywords. In our practice, ProKinetics, we actually offer to write the reviews on behalf of the patients that we email over for them to edit and easily copy and paste into our Google reviews. And the result are very keyword heavy, reviews that Google loves because they tell an actual story, they tell a narrative, and they use all the core keywords that we actually want to rank for in Google, ensuring that we're getting as much search traffic as possible and boosting our rank month after month. This also gives us an opportunity to show our patients just how well that we've been paying attention to their stories and make them feel heard and well taken care of. Then lastly, the number of reviews that you have does play an important factor, but it is not the most important factor because Google wants to give newer businesses an opportunity to outrank the older pre-existing companies if they are providing a better experience and getting better reviews. To capture the most reviews, I recommend keeping a QR code handy in your practice so that when you do ask patients for a review and they say yes, instead of letting them walk out of the door and hoping that they actually do it, have a QR code handy that you can just hand them so that they do it right there and then inside of the clinic. Now, I also recommend that you send review requests to your email list often. Okay, we send them every single quarter, having little contests for leaving reviews, and then we also send them after the third or fourth visit with every single patient. Typically, we wait until they have some sort of transformative experience that prompts us to be like, perfect, would you mind leaving us a review and doing that? And then we show them the QR code, but if they haven't left us a review using the QR code that we have in the clinic, we then send them an email that looks just like this. Okay, there's a couple different formats that we send these review requests in, but the most common one we send is a very simple one that we send via text and email. And so what this looks like is a very simple review, email that basically has a link that goes directly to leaving us a 5-star review. Now the other thing that we do is every single quarter we send an email and a text blast out to our entire list. And so this is formatted as a little contest. And so we're doing something to appreciate our patients. And please take 10 seconds to leave us a review to enter to win some sort of prize. Sometimes we do iPads, sometimes we do Aura Rings, something really cool and exciting that gets people interested in actually leaving us a review. Now, if you could do this, one, with every single patient, wait for those moments where they have some sort of transformative experience. You can ask them for a review and you can give them the QR code. If that doesn't work or you forget to do it, because we're all humans, sometimes that happens, you send them the first email that we just showed that will link beneath this video so you can copy and paste it into your own email system. Another thing that I definitely recommend doing is this quarterly review contest format because we get a landslide of new reviews every single quarter, every single time we do this, giving us a nice little boost to our SEO and making sure that we're consistently climbing the ranks on Google Maps. Also, don't be afraid to remind your patients to leave you a review. You're not nagging them. This is something that Google actually recommends that every single business owner does. So do not feel like you're being a pest or you're asking something that's completely outlandish. Don't be afraid to ask and follow up for Google reviews. People understand that this is your business. This is how you help people. You need the social proof out there in order to make a bigger impact within your community. So don't hesitate to doing this. If they don't do it, that's perfectly fine, but it never hurts to follow up and remind them. Now, when you are requesting reviews over email, it is extremely important that you have a link that opens directly to your Google review pop-up. This eliminates the number of steps that people have to go through to leave your review and just makes it easier on your patients to do so, make it more likely you're actually going to get that glowing review. Now, in order to create your direct link that opens up your business's Google review pop-up, all you have to do is go type in your business name. So we're going to open up a new window and go to Scottsdale Physical Therapy and Performance, my practice. And so once we found our listing, we click on it and we click on your Google reviews. From there, you just click Get More Reviews, and this will give you your direct link that you can copy, and then when you open up a new window and you go to it, it's going to open up that Google review pop-up window. Just like that. So I highly recommend doing this. It's a no-brainer. Every single business should be using this, especially if you're collecting Google reviews through your email. Now, last note about Google reviews, make sure that you reply to every single review that you get, both the positive ones and the negative ones, because everyone's going to be paying attention to, one, how you actually reply to negative feedback. You can come back from a scathing, horrible review by how you handle it. And if you handle that situation in a really good way, it might not deter as many people as otherwise would have if you wouldn't have replied to that message. Obviously, replying to positive reviews encourages other people to leave positive reviews. It does help you increase your search ranking, especially if your replies to those reviews also use the keywords that you're trying to rank for. So do make sure that you reply to every single review, not only to overcome the backlash of negative reviews, but also to further increase your keyword search rank by using those and making people feel good about taking the time to actually leave your business a review. Alright guys, now the last two tips that I have for you are very important, but they are the most complicated. There are backlinks and there are internal links. Backlinks are Google's 8th most important Google rank factor, and internal links are Google's 14th most important rank factors. Now, backlinks or inbound links are websites that point back to your website. So external websites that point back to your website. Now, these are really important because this is how Google originally built their search algorithm, based on how many links across the internet direct towards your website. This is how they determined how much authority your brand actually has. Now, you can think of backlinks as votes. Basically, other businesses that Google already trusts voting on the credibility of your business. And the more votes that you have, the higher you're going to rank on Google. So a really good strategy to have in place to make sure that you have as many backlinks as possible is using popular citation building websites like Yext. This makes it very simple to take your business listing and blast it across all of the popular search directories for businesses. The more that you're on, the higher you're going to rank. Yext makes it very, very simple because they're going to make it so you only fill out a few forms, then they go out and they list your business on hundreds of other relevant sites that is going to increase your credibility in the eyes of Google. Now, you can also do things like press releases. There's dozens of different tools that are out there that you can put together a really nice press release around how you are treating back pain differently, or that you just hired and you're doing something new within the community. There's hundreds of other publications out there like newspapers, radio stations, TV stations, news stations, and all of these stations will actually publish your publication. And because Google will take a look at all of these other websites that they have a ton of credibility, and they'll see that they're linking back to your website, that is going to give you a massive boost in your local SEO. We do press releases every single quarter, and we publish hundreds of them. And so this is something that I definitely recommend doing as part of your backlink strategy. You can also partner up with other local businesses that are in town and ask them if you write them a blog, could they publish it on their website, linking back to theirs, linking back to your website, and you can offer to do the same for their business. It's a win-win scenario, and then you both climb the search rankings for the relevant keywords that you're going for. Now, the last tip, internal links. This piece is a little bit easier because you have full control over it. You're not relying on other businesses to link back to your website. Internal links are basically pages of your website that link back to other pages of your site. Now, in Google, anytime you launch a new page, Google automatically is going to crawl that website. Their spiders are going to go all over your website, and the more links you have linking to other pages on your website, the more Google's going to look into your site, because they're going to follow every single link that's on there. And so the more pages that they follow, the more keywords that they pick up, and the more credibility and authority you build in the eyes of Google, increasing your search rank even further. Now, guys, if you can follow all of these tips, you're going to soar through the local Google ranks because no other businesses take the time to actually follow all of these steps. And so if you can go through each one of these, execute them one at a time, I assure you, you will find yourself in the top ranked positions on Google. So if you guys got value out of this video, make sure you smash that like button. If you have any questions, leave them below. I look forward to answering them. And make sure that you subscribe, because the more people that subscribe, the more we're able to tell YouTube that this content is valuable and it's going to push it out to more physical therapy businesses that we can help. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like it on how you can build your cash physical therapy practice, make it more successful through world-class marketing and sales, make sure you check out the other videos on our channel.